Boys, today is going to be a fun day. Today's going to be an interesting day. Today's going to be a weird day. And maybe, just maybe today is the day I lose my job. We're going to find out. But first, let's get a little jam going. Let's get started. Give everybody a minute or two to get in here. Get situated. Oh, yeah. Okay, good. We're starting to get some people in. Let's give it a couple more seconds. And while we're waiting on people to get here, you might want to find yourself something to drink. Because today is going to be an excellent live stream. You guys are going to get the answers to a lot of questions that were submitted inside the community. But even more important than that, you're going to get different versions of the answers to your questions. So you're going to learn a ton, and we're going to have a lot of fun doing it. So if you're ready for the best live stream you've ever experienced in your life, but you're thinking to yourself, Papa Jack, I think we could do this a little bit better. I think we can make this even better. You're right. Because if you really want to reach the height of all of humanity, the culmination of all of civilization, what you need to do is find yourself some sort of beverage vessel. It could be anything you like. Me personally, I have a nice Jeju wheat beer for today. And I would like you to crack open your beverage of choice or lift it up together with me now as we join together in the Cheers with Chaps. Cheers, boys. I have to say, I'm constantly impressed by the different beers that come out in Korea. They are really stepping it up. Korea's beer game used to be absolutely garbage, but in the last 4 or 5 years, they've really brought it. They're doing much better now. But that's not what you're here to talk about. You're not here to talk about the beer situation in Korea, are you? No. You're here to find out who is a better dating coach, Papa Jack or AI. And what we're going to do today is we are going to read through some questions and some answers, and you will be guessing which answer was written by AI and which one was written by Papa Jack. Let's see how you do on this. Let's go ahead and jump right into it. So, our first question, submitted in the community by user Jake. He asks, what should you do when you run out of things to say in a conversation with a girl? This is the answer. By the way, the order of which one is mine and which one is the AI was decided by the lovely and talented Lady North at pure random. She didn't read the questions or the answers. She just chose one or two for each one. So, for all you know, these might all be Papa Jack's answers, or they might all be AI answers. Let's see if you can determine. One more time. The question submitted by user Jake was, what should you do when you run out of things to say in conversation with a girl? Here's the answer. When you run out of things to say in a conversation with a girl, you can try several different tactics to keep the conversation going. First, you can try asking questions that allow her to talk a bit more, specifically not questions that can be answered with one or just a few words. For example, have you ever been to Thailand is a simple question that gets a simple answer. However, instead, asking what's your favorite place you've traveled to allows her to expand on her answer and give more information. You can then use pieces of information from what she tells you to ask follow-up questions or share similar stories or experiences of your own. Second, you can try playing a game together. Never Have I Ever is a global favorite that can work almost anywhere and allows you to learn more about each other in a natural, fun manner. Another tactic that might help you when running out of things to say during a conversation is to completely change the topic. You can engage someone in conversation on a multitude of different topics that are universally appealing. such as music, pop culture, movies, or hobbies. These new topic changes should also be open-ended so that you can both discuss the topic freely. Remember, it's important to take your time and have fun during your conversations. If you are feeling too much pressure during a conversation, then you are likely coming across to her as too tense or too needy. Relax, take a deep breath, and have fun. After all, meeting new people and building human connections is a fun and rewarding activity that you are meant to enjoy. So, was that written by Papa Jack or was that written by AI? What do you think? Make sure that you jot these down so that you can keep your own scorecard and find out at the end. Let's move on to the second question. The second question, submitted by community user JJ. How can I hold a girl's hand or kiss her for the first time? Here's the answer. When it comes to physical affection, like holding hands or kissing, it's important to prioritize communication, consent, and respect for the other person's boundaries. Here are some general tips. Build rapport. Establish a connection and build rapport with the girl through meaningful conversation, shared experiences, and genuine connection. This can help create a comfortable and trusting atmosphere. Read her body language. Pay attention to her body language as it can provide cues about her comfort level and interest. If she seems open to physical touch, such as touching your arm or getting closer to you, it may indicate that she's comfortable with you taking things further. Communicate. It is important to communicate openly and honestly with the girl. You can express your interest in physical affection, but also ask for her comfort level and boundaries. Respect her response and don't push her into anything she's not comfortable with. Be mindful of context. Consider the context of the situation. If you're in a private and intimate setting, such as a romantic walk or a quiet moment, it may be more appropriate to initiate physical touch. However, if you're in a public or casual setting, it's important to be mindful of the surroundings and ensure that both of you are comfortable with any physical affection. Start with small gestures. Beginning with small and subtle gestures, such as holding her hand briefly, brushing against her arm, or giving her a gentle hug, is an excellent start. Pay attention to her response and adjust accordingly. Respect her boundaries. If she's not reciprocating or seems uncomfortable with physical touch, respect her boundaries and back off. It's crucial to always prioritize her comfort and consent. Take it slow. Building physical intimacy takes time, and it's important not to rush or pressure the other person. Let the relationship progress naturally and at a pace that both you and the girl are comfortable with. Remember that everyone has different comfort levels and boundaries when it comes to physical affection, and it's essential to respect and honor those boundaries. Consent, communication, and mutual respect are key when it comes to holding hands or kissing someone for the first time. Always prioritize the other person's comfort and boundaries, and be willing to adjust your approach accordingly. Hey there, Xi Jinping. So, what do you think? Was that answer written by Papa Jack, or was that answer written by AI? Write down your answer now before we move on to question 3. At the end, we're going to check all of these and see if you were right. So, to find out whether that was me or AI, you need to wait until the end. Pay close attention. Here is question 3. How can I deal with rejection when approaching a girl? Here's the answer. Dealing with rejection can be tough, but here are some tips to help you cope. Accept and acknowledge your feelings. It's normal to feel disappointed, hurt, or rejected when approaching someone and facing rejection. Allow yourself to feel these emotions and acknowledge them without judgment. It's okay to feel disappointed, and it's important to accept and process these feelings. Reframe your mindset. Reframe your mindset. Instead of viewing rejection as a personal failure, reframe your mindset. See it as a part of the dating process and understand that not everyone will be interested in you, and that's okay. It's not a reflection of your worth as a person. Practice self-care. Take care of yourself physically, mentally, and emotionally. Engage in activities that you enjoy. Spend time with supportive friends or family, and practice self-compassion. Be kind to yourself and practice self-care during this time. Learn from the experience. Use rejection as an opportunity for growth and learning. Reflect on what you could have done differently, but avoid blaming yourself or dwelling on negative thoughts. Instead, focus on what you can learn from the experience and use it as a chance to improve your approach in the future. Keep a positive perspective. Remember that rejection is a normal part of the dating process, and it doesn't define your worth as a person. Keep a positive perspective, and don't let rejection discourage you from continuing to approach and connect with others. Keep trying and stay confident. Don't let rejection deter you from approaching other people. Keep trying and maintain your confidence. Remember that dating and relationships involve some level of vulnerability and risk, and rejection is a part of that process. Stay resilient and keep moving forward. Seek support. It's okay to reach out for support from friends, family, or even a therapist or counselor. Talking about your feelings and experiences can help you process and cope with rejection. Remember that rejection is a normal part of dating and relationships, and it's important to handle it with grace and resilience. Take care of yourself, maintain a positive mindset, and keep trying while learning from the experience. You deserve to pursue meaningful connections and relationships. So, what do you think? Was that written by Papa Jack or was that written by AI? Avian influenza can't trust at all. Okay. I assume you're talking about AI when you say avian influenza. I'm not entirely sure how this is linked, but interested to hear more. If you have other thoughts, Xi Jinping. Next, let's move on to question number 4. This question is, how do I know if a girl is ready to come back to my place after a date? Here is your answer. Asking a girl to come back to your place after a date requires careful consideration and can be a nerve-wracking moment for many men. Here are some tips to help you know if she's ready to go back to your place with you. First, suggest changing or leaving the venue of the date. This could be something as simple as asking her to step outside with you to get some fresh air, or maybe take a walk around the neighborhood. This helps you to gauge her level of interest in you, as well as her willingness to follow you into unknown situations. Second, during your conversation, you can plant seeds of an idea to go to your home by discussing some of the benefits of being at your place. You can do this by talking about the location of your home, such as noteworthy landmarks or places in the neighborhood. You can also mention certain items of interest in your home, such as pets, musical instruments, or photo albums. This helps to build curiosity about the aforementioned items, as well as help her envision going to your place to satisfy her curiosity. By planting these seeds of curiosity early in a conversation, they can be referred to later in discussions of what the two of you would like to do next. Another way to see if a girl is ready to leave a venue and possibly go to your home, particularly if drinking alcohol together, is to pay attention to the tempo of her drink consumption. If she times her drink to finish at the same time as yours, she may be trying to signal to you that she's ready to leave that particular venue. An offer of having further drinks back at your place may be a great chance to continue the fun of the evening while also going to a more comfortable and private location. So, was that Papa Jack's advice or was that AI's advice? What do you think? We're coming up. We're past the halfway mark now. Let's see how your scorecard is doing. Shall we review your current score? I think we should. Before we continue on with the final 3, which are interesting to say the least, let's review your score so far. So, question 1 was, what should you do when you run out of things to say in a conversation with a girl? What did you think that was? Was that Papa Jack or was that AI answering your question? Number 1 was Papa Jack. One of the reasons you can tell is because I gave exact examples of here's what you would think to say, but here's why it's wrong. Instead, ask this question that's going to be more open-ended. In this particular example, have you ever been to Thailand is the bad question, but What's your favorite place that you've traveled to is the good question because it's more open-ended and lets her talk more about her experiences and give you more information to then dig deeper. Another bit that is definitely a Papa Jack exclusive compared to the AI version is introducing games and drinking games specifically. Never Have I Ever, the question game, which I've talked about before on the stream. If you haven't seen that, look towards some of the other past streams, specifically where we talk about games to play on dates. And there are several other different games that you can play here that help to bring out more conversation and give you more hooks and easy ends. So games are very much part of my advice. And here is the AI's response to that particular question. When you run out of things to say in a conversation with a girl, try asking open-ended questions, actively listening, sharing stories, talking about common interests, using humor, being curious and genuine, and being present and attentive. Remember to be respectful and attentive, and don't be too hard on yourself if the conversation lulls. Take a deep breath, relax, and try one of these strategies to keep the conversation going. It's fine advice, but honestly, it's advice that you'd get from your mother or your grandmother. It doesn't give any sort of specific examples. It doesn't tell you what you could do instead of something else, what you might be doing wrong, how you can improve on what you're doing now. And so, while I do agree with the things that the AI gave, it did not do a good job of answering the question, in my opinion. But perhaps your opinion is different. Let's look at question number 2 and see how you did there. On question number 2, how can I hold a girl's hand or kiss her for the first time? What did you think? Was that written by AI or was that written by Papa Jack? If you chose AI, you are correct. That was absolutely an AI response, full of it was full of meaningless phrases with generalized advice. Like, for example, here, build rapport, establish a connection and build rapport with the girl through meaningful conversation, shared experiences, and genuine connection. What does that even mean? That means nothing. It's basically empty advice. It's hollow advice. So here is Papa Jack's answer to this question. How can I hold a girl's hand or kiss her for the first time? When it comes to creating physical affection early in a relationship, it can be a difficult task for anyone. It's important to pay attention to the signs that she gives you, such as body language, eye contact, and verbal cues. It's also crucial to break the touch barrier early on in a conversation to establish physical comfort between one another. One easy way to do this before holding hands with a girl is to initiate extra physical contact during a handshake, such as clasping her hand in both of yours or gently touching her elbow when first meeting one another. Once physical comfort has been established, it becomes much easier and more natural to hold hands and to further increase physical affection. Knowing when to kiss a girl on a first date can be very tricky, as you have to consider various different factors such as time, location, and cultural considerations. Body language will also help you to gauge her level of interest. A common way for a girl to indicate that she's ready to be kissed is brushing her hair out of her face. This demonstrates that she's cognizant of her appearance to you and shows that she wants her face to be free in the event that you do decide to kiss her. Another way to see if a girl's interested in kissing you is to further increase your physical affection for her. One strategy, called the kiss test and popularized by dating coach David D'Angelo, suggests that men gently touch a girl's hair to judge her reaction to their escalation. The kiss test does not explicitly state where to touch her hair, but it's implied to be subtle, as if an involuntary sign of attraction. At that point, if the girl smiles or leans in, it states that she's ready to be kissed. If she pulls away or otherwise gives a negative reaction, it indicates that she's not interested. Remember, it's important to understand and respect a person's consent to physical actions, even if they're nonverbal. Only score experience with 5 cents belongs to Jack. Okay. I'm still not entirely understanding, but I like the input. Next, let's look at question number 3 and see how you did. What did you guys choose for question number 3? This was, how can I deal with rejection when approaching a girl? Did you think that that was written by Papa Jack or by AI? Well, if you chose Papa Jack, you are wrong. However, here's Papa Jack's answer. And to be fair, I actually agreed with a lot of what the AI responded on this one. But I tend to give a little bit more explanation in detail of what you can actually do. So here's Papa Jack's answer to this question. Rejection is a difficult and common problem that people have to deal with during dating, especially during the early stages. However, here are some tips to help you cope with rejection. First, pay attention to the information you've been given. Not all rejections are the same. And while some people may simply be too busy or otherwise mentally occupied to engage in a conversation with a stranger, it's also possible that the rejection came as a result of poor or awkward performance on your part. By noticing what you do that gets a good reaction and what gets a bad reaction, you can better calibrate your style and congruence to achieve better results in the future, leading to increased success rates. Second, reframe your mindset. Understand that a quick rejection from a stranger is not an indictment of you as a person, as they don't know you yet. Accept that the rejection may have occurred for many different reasons, such as her being in a bad mood, being in a rush to get somewhere, being socially awkward and afraid of talking to strangers, or even something as simple as you not appearing to be her type. It's important to not take rejections too personally for the sake of your mental health. However, this is not an excuse to stop improving. By learning from the experience, you can further improve yourself. One way to increase your confidence in spite of a rejection is to exercise more. Not only does exercise release endorphins and dopamine that help one to cope with the negative repercussions of rejection, it also helps your body become more physically fit and attractive to potential partners. It also helps improve self-confidence, which is widely known to be a very attractive metric when dating. Finally, one can deal with rejection by sharing the experience with others, either by talking with friends, a like-minded community, such as our Discord community, which if you're not yet a part of, and Xi Jinping, I don't know if you're in our Discord community yet, you should join it. If you're not yet in the Discord community, go to thesoulplayer.com right now. At the top of the page, there's a button that says community, and there's a link straight into our Discord. It's totally free to join, and that's where you get to ask questions and get answers like these. So, where was I? By sharing these experiences, you'll be able to better process and understand the interaction, as well as understand that it is a universal human experience. This will help you to get past it and become a better, stronger mating candidate for the future. Our fourth question was, how do I know if a girl is ready to come back to my place after a date? Now, hopefully you guys got this. This was very obviously Papa Jack's advice. This was not AI generated because I gave actual advice about do this thing. Here are some examples. Planting the seeds about thinking about your place, making her assume that it's a comfortable place to be, helping her to envision herself being in your home, these types of things, and teaching a girl basically how to follow you. These are not the things that AI recommended. Let me give you AI's version of this answer. Asking a girl to come back to your place after a date requires careful consideration and respect for her boundaries. Here are some signs that she may be open to the idea. Positive body language. If the girl is showing positive body language, such as maintaining eye contact, smiling, touching your arm, or leaning in toward you, it could be an indication that she's comfortable and interested in taking things further. Verbal cues. If the girl is giving you verbal cues, such as expressing interest in your place, mentioning that she's comfortable with going to your place. Yes, right. If a girl says, hey, I'm comfortable with going to your place. Yes, that is very good, AI. That is the correct time to offer to take her back. Or asking about your living situation. It could be a sign that she's open to the idea. Comfort and trust. If you've built a strong rapport and trust during the date, and the girl seems comfortable and at ease with you, it may indicate she's more likely to consider going to your place. Good point. Showing up perfect AI style might feel scary. Yeah, I mean, these are just what I got whenever I typed in the same questions that I answered. Uh, Prior conversation, context of the date. It's important to remember comfort levels, crucial to respect and honor them, consent, things like this. Okay, cool. Thank you. Now, let's get back on track because that was our halfway point. Let's go on to question number 5 and see if you can guess who wrote this advice, Papa Jack or AI. Here's the question. What are the advantages and disadvantages of trying to meet a girl when you're alone or when you're with friends? Meeting a girl when you're alone versus when you're with friends can have both advantages and disadvantages. Here are some points to consider. While alone, you have much greater flexibility in your plans. It can be easier to meet several different people within a single venue or area while not being bound by the plans and desires of others. It also allows you greater freedom in the girls who you approach. While with a group of friends, it's always important to consider the numbers so that no one feels left out. For example, if you are with 2 friends, making a total group of 3, it's very difficult to have an extensive conversation or experience with a group of only 2 women. However, the opposite is not necessarily the case. As a single man, you can entertain a larger group of women, ensuring that nobody feels left out or ignored. Another benefit of meeting women alone is that it can increase a man's authenticity and congruence. Because he doesn't feel social pressure to act in a certain way with his peer group, he may feel freer to act in a way that's truer to himself, which is a very attractive quality to many women. On the other hand, meeting women with a group of friends also has several benefits. One such benefit is that the social pressure helps many men to overcome approach anxiety, which would otherwise stop them. Because of the social pressure brought to bear by a group of friends, some men will push through tasks that would be difficult alone for fear of social humiliation or ostracization. In some cases, though, this can have the opposite effect. Occasionally, a man in a group will refuse to approach a woman or a group for fear of having his rejection witnessed by his peers, leading to further paralysis. Ultimately, there are advantages and disadvantages to meeting women alone or with a group of friends, and it's up to the man to decide which to employ in a given situation. So, was that Papa Jack's advice, or was that AI's answer? What do you think? Write it down. Let's go on to question number 6. Question number 6, submitted by user Sabi. How can I get over approach anxiety? Here's the answer. Approach anxiety, or the fear of approaching and initiating conversations with new people, can be challenging to overcome, especially in the context of dating and romantic relationships. Here are some strategies that may help. Reframe your mindset. Approach anxiety often stems from negative thoughts or assumptions about the outcome of approaching someone. Reframe your mindset by focusing on the positive aspects of meeting new people, such as the opportunity to learn and grow, rather than fixating on potential rejection or failure. Practice gradual exposure. Start by practicing in low-pressure situations, such as striking up conversations with strangers in non-dating contexts, like in a coffee shop or at a social event. Gradually expose yourself to more challenging situations and build your confidence over time. Set realistic expectations. Avoid putting undue pressure on yourself to achieve a specific outcome or impress someone. Instead, focus on enjoying the process of meeting new people and engaging in authentic conversations without expecting immediate results or seeking validation. Develop conversation skills. Enhance your conversation skills by practicing active listening, asking open-ended questions, and showing genuine interest in the other person. This can help you build rapport and establish a meaningful connection, which can reduce anxiety and create a more enjoyable interaction. Challenge negative beliefs. Identify and challenge any negative beliefs or assumptions you have about approaching new people. Often, our fears are based on irrational thoughts or past negative experiences that may not be reflective of the current situation. Build self-confidence. Work on building your self-confidence through self-care, self-improvement, and positive self-affirmation. When you feel good about yourself, it's easier to approach others with confidence and authenticity. Remember that overcoming approach anxiety takes time and practice. Be patient with yourself and celebrate your progress, no matter how small. The key is to take gradual steps, challenge your fears, and approach new people with a positive and authentic mindset. So, was that Papa Jack or was that AI? What do you think? Let's move on to our final question before we're able to truly see your scorecard results. Question number 7. Question number 7. Is it better to hook up with a girl after drinking some or being completely sober? Here's the answer. The decision to engage in sexual activities, including hooking up, should always be based on mutual consent, clear communication, and respect for each other's boundaries. It's important to remember that consent cannot be given while under the influence of alcohol or any other substances that impair judgment or decision-making ability. Being completely sober during any sexual activity has several advantages, including clear judgment. When sober, you can make more informed decisions and have a clearer understanding of your actions and their potential consequences. Consent. Sexual activity should always be based on enthusiastic and informed consent from all parties involved. Being sober ensures that you are able to fully understand and give or receive consent freely and without any external influences. Communication. Being sober allows for better communication with your partner about boundaries, desires, and expectations, which can lead to a more positive and mutually enjoyable experience. Safety. Sobriety helps you stay aware of your surroundings and take necessary precautions to ensure your safety and the safety of your partner, such as using protection against sexually transmitted infections and practicing safe sex. Engaging in sexual activity while under the influence of alcohol or other substances can increase the risk of miscommunication, lack of consent, and potential regrets or negative consequences. It's important to prioritize clear communication, mutual consent, and responsible decision-making in any sexual encounter. So, what do you think? Was that Papa Jack or was that AI? I feel like that one might have been the easiest of all of these to answer as to who wrote it. But we'll find out. If you've been keeping track and if you've been writing down your guesses, let's go back through and check your answers. Question number 5. Question number 5 was, what are the advantages and disadvantages of trying to meet a girl when you're alone or you're with friends? And did you think that this answer was written by Papa Jack or the AI? If you guessed Papa Jack, you are correct. This was written by me. I went through the different advantages and disadvantages of being alone, being with friends, gave some examples of something that could be an issue for you in each situation, and some of the benefits of each one. The AI's answer, let's have a look at it, but it's a bit long, so I'm definitely going to cut it off a bit. Meeting a girl when you're alone versus when you're with friends can have both advantages and disadvantages. Here are some points to consider. Advantages of meeting a girl alone. Focus. You're able to focus on the interaction, get to know the girl without distractions. Flexibility. You're able to approach and interact the girl at your own pace with your style. Authenticity. Interacting with a girl one-on-one fosters a deeper level of authenticity. And the disadvantages of meeting a girl alone are nervousness, sure, lack of support. Without friends around, you don't have immediate support or backup, right? I basically agree with these. Advantages of meeting a girl with friends. Confidence boost. You have friends around, provides a confidence boost and a comfortable environment. Social proof. Being with friends can provide social proof and make you appear more sociable and likable to the girl. That's true, and I did not mention that in my answer. Group dynamics. Group interactions can be more relaxed and casual, providing a more laid-back atmosphere. Disadvantages of meeting a girl with friends, though. Distractions. Having a girl around having friends around can be distracting. Potential interruptions and competing conversations. You have pressure to perform. Being with your friends puts pressure on you to perform or impress them. And less intimacy. Group settings lack the intimacy of a one-on-one interaction. Yeah, I basically actually agree with this answer by AI. I wish it gave a little bit more examples of why you would or wouldn't want to employ them, when would be a good time to meet girls alone versus with friends. But overall, I think that it gave a pretty good answer here. Let's move on to question number 6 and see how you did there. Question number 6 was, how can I get over approach anxiety? Do you think that the answer I read was AI or Papa Jack's? That one was AI written, and it wasn't bad, but it didn't get deep enough for my personal preferences. So here's my answer to that question. Approach anxiety is a problem that afflicts many men, especially when they're inexperienced in dating and social activities. There are many ways to get over approach anxiety, though. First, practice your social skills in a variety of social settings. By improving your ability to create and carry on long conversations, inject humor appropriately, and read another person's signals, you'll develop greater confidence in your own abilities and make it that much easier for you to begin conversations with new people. Second, begin simply. Approaching strangers to start conversations can be nerve-wracking in high-pressure situations. So, it's better to start by talking to people regardless of gender or level of attraction in as many social situations as possible. This will help you get used to striking up conversations with people and turn it into a habit. Once something becomes a habit, it's much easier to continue doing it in any situation. Third, reframe your mindset on approaching. Realize that your negative assumptions about the other person are likely untrue and dismiss these assumptions with extreme prejudice. Instead, use what you have at your disposal as a benefit rather than a detriment. In the human body, anxiety and excitement are nearly identical feelings. So, you can choose to reframe the feeling you have in your body from anxiety into excitement. Whenever you feel that knot in the pit of your stomach or those butterflies, that usually indicates anxiety. But you can choose to view it as excitement instead and use that emotion as fuel to propel you forward into doing the approach. Finally, give yourself permission to fail. It's important to realize that everyone has these same worries and feelings, and nobody succeeds at approaching 100% of the time. In fact, failure is a natural and important part of the process of mate selection among humans. So, it's crucial that you give yourself the mental allowance to try new things. And however the other person responds, understand that you have been successful in the one thing you were attempting to do, approach. If you view the approach itself as a success, then you will be far less likely to punish yourself mentally for the reactions of the other person. This will avoid negative repercussions down the line and will help to reinforce positive behavior associated with the success. So that was my answer. And now finally, on question number 7. What did you think? Was this question answered by Papa Jack or AI? If you chose Papa Jack, I am shocked, appalled, and disappointed. This was very obviously an AI written response. So, I tried to write my answer in a way to hopefully fool you into thinking that it was AI, but I think that you're going to notice some clear differences as I start reading through my version of the answer. The decision to engage in sexual activities, including hooking up, should always be regarded seriously, and the inclusion of alcohol can often blur the lines of intention, consent, and desire. However, alcohol has been known to be a very strong and effective social lubricant, helping people to better handle awkward or difficult social situations. It's generally advisable to engage in sexual activities with a clear, sober mind. However, the reality of many social situations can render that difficult. If you choose to drink with a potential partner before engaging in sexual activities, it's important to ensure that neither party consumes too much alcohol. Drinking too much alcohol can make it impossible to render clear consent, but it also comes with other downsides. One such downside is a decrease in male sexual performance, sometimes known as whiskey dick. This is a terribly embarrassing problem that can lead to a premature end to an otherwise fun night. It can also negatively affect a woman's ability to perform as well, leading to what is known as starfish syndrome. However, a little bit of alcohol can help to decrease sexual inhibition of both parties, leading to a more fun and satisfying experience. Whether you or your partner choose to consume alcohol before engaging in sexual activities is ultimately up to each individual. However, it is important to establish clear consent and enjoy your beverages responsibly. Speaking of which, cheers, boys. So, how did you do? Did you get them all right? Could you tell the difference between an actual dating coach and AI formulated answers? Maybe you could, maybe you couldn't. Whose answers did you like better? And most important of all, do you think I'm going to be out of a job anytime soon? It doesn't appear so to me. From my perspective, the advice that the AI gave was fine in that none of it was wrong, but also it it didn't give uh, it didn't give enough actual explanation of what to do. X2 Crow has better sex drunk than sober. I believe that. I mean, I don't remember the last time that I had purely sober sex anyway. But neither here nor there. Drunk sex is fun. Usually lasts longer too. That's a good point. Desensitization is a pretty big concern for a lot of guys. So slowing it down by having a few drinks is not a bad strategy. So, based on my experience with the AI and its dating advice, I feel like I probably still have at least a few years left before this thing takes over. Another serious concern with AI generated advice is that AI is programmed by people, and the people interested in programming AI, as a general rule, are not the people who do very well with women. So there's definitely a disconnect between what advice an AI has been told to give you and what the reality on the ground actually looks like. On top of that, you get questions of political correctness, of, well, we're not really allowed to say this thing. And the last question that was asked was maybe the best example of that. The idea of, is it better to have hookups completely sober or after some drinks? Well, better from like a legal and safety sense, maybe, but as far as, do you want to actually succeed? Do you want to actually have a hookup? Because 99% of the time, there's at least some alcohol involved in those. And it can't tell you the actual on the ground experience about that stuff. Also, I'm sure for legal and responsibility reasons, they don't want to include advice that's like, yeah, get wasted, fucking party, man, and then whatever happens, happens, right? I understand that. But fact is that people do drink, and then people hook up when drinking. And so the fact that it can't give that advice because it was programmed not to, or because of legal considerations, or whatever it is, shows that there are massive holes in what advice it can even give, what kinds of questions it can answer, and what parts of reality it can even acknowledge. So, at least for today, I still feel secure in my job as a dating coach, and that I'm doing a better job than AI can. What do you think? And what was your score? Let me know your score in the comments below. Tell me, how many of those did you guess right? And whose advice did you like better? Now, with that in mind, let's move over to our fun Q&A section, where we're going to bring in our marvelous, our wonderful, the one, the only, the inimitable, the kid. How are you doing, the kid?
I'm doing good. Doing good.
Good, buddy. Good morning. Did you get some sleep?
Yes, I got some sleep.
Good. I'm glad to hear it.
All right,
We
cool. It's
missed you
just me
last
today.
week, but I understood.
Yeah,
You were burning the candle at both ends last week.
yeah. I woke up for the stream and I was just like, oh, I'm not doing this. I need more sleep.
It's understandable. I get it. Well, it actually ended up being a good one to miss because we were out in the barn, so we could only communicate through comments. And we couldn't hear the questions and the answers that people were asking. So it was a bit difficult. So
Uh,
honestly, it's probably better that you got the sleep anyhow.
yeah, that sounds like that worked out well
Yeah.
then.
Funny how things seem to just keep on working out well in that regard.
Yeah, yeah. I guess I'm just lucky. So, is it just me today?
Yeah, yeah, it's just
Oh,
you
okay.
today, buddy. It's just
Oh,
you. I'm
nice.
not sure where the other guys are. Uh, they didn't say anything back, but that's fine. That's fine.
All good.
You and me and the devil makes three.
All good. All good. Cool. Cool. So, I do have a question. I was wondering because I was looking at this. It was in. It was on AI, right?
Yeah.
Um, Do you think AI will? Because I saw some YouTube video somewhere.
Mhm.
Some dude like programmed an AI. It's not like an off the shelf one, but it's like some sort of AI he made that would like chat with girls for him on these dating apps to
Sure.
schedule the dates.
Mm.
Do you think that's possible? Like, good idea. In general, like if you could figure it out. Like, what are your thoughts there?
That that feels like something that somebody wanted to see if they could, but they didn't consider whether or not they should. Right? Let's say that you create an AI program or even just a basic script, because honestly, this wouldn't be that hard if you just taught it like a few basic phrases, 20, 25 different phrases, and then you gave it like, okay, if you see a response with this word in it, give this response, right? Anything like that. Um, I think it would be somewhat useful in maybe testing new opening lines. It could be somewhat useful uh, in getting a conversation going and seeing like, is she responding or not? So the first bit of a conversation. But then after that, if if you don't talk to her and you don't know who she is, what are you gonna do when you get on the date? Right? Like, you're gonna show up and be like, hey, Liz, right? So tell me about yourself, Liz. And like, you don't know anything about this girl. You don't know what you've been saying. You can read back through it, sure, but it's not really you. And there's gonna be a necessary disconnect, an incongruence between how responses were handled on the chatting app or on the dating app or whatever, and then how you respond in person. So is it useful? Should people use it? I mean, honestly, why? Right? Like, again, I can definitely see the use case for just, okay, we're just swiping on, I swipe and then you send out a message. We're going to test this opening message 10 times and this opening message 10 times. Something like that. Yeah, I could see that. See if people respond, test things easier, or just striking up the initial conversation. Fine, sure. But, okay, Simba, come on, buddy. But then after that, any conversation that the AI has for you is going to be not great. I mean, even the highest end AIs still don't pass the Turing test. And so I think, one, it's going to be kind of obvious again, after a point, and two, you're doing yourself a disservice because you're not gonna actually have anything going on with this girl. Now, on the flip side, if you are just, I don't know, if you're a 10 and just every girl who you swipe on, it's a match, then if you want to write an AI script that's like, hey, we matched, here's my Google Calendar, schedule a time to come over and we can bang. Like, if it works for you, okay. Other than that, though, like for guys who actually have trouble getting dates on dating apps, I really feel like that's going to be a big step backwards rather than forward. And it's not going to take long for that to become obvious that this is a thing that's happening. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense. Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Now, what would be interesting is if you could train an AI to recognize certain facial features or things that are your type or the types of girls you find attractive. And then it could swipe right or left for you based on your own preferences. That would be a very interesting case. I don't know how well it would work, especially whenever it comes to like you would need to train it on a really large model set, like probably minimum of 1,000, and then specify I swiped because of the picture, or I swiped because of the bio, or it was both that were good, so that the AI can look at and process either like, yes, this picture is good enough that even with a shitty bio, he says yes, or yes, this bio is good enough that even with a shitty picture, he says yes, or something like that. That would be an interesting and more useful application of AI in dating apps.
Yeah. Well, I think it's super possible because AI is all like pattern recognition.
Yeah,
Like it's just how big is your data set?
right, right.
Um,
Well, and that's the thing is that because the data set has to be personalized to you and your tastes, then you would need. I don't know how long does it take to get through 1,000 swipes. Do you know what the daily limit is on the free version of Tinder, Bumble, whatever else? I don't know what it is right.
I don't know. Maybe it's like if I remember correctly, they limit like the match the right swipes, but like the nose you can do unlimited.
Sure.
It might be like 30, 50, maybe 100. I don't remember
Okay.
exactly.
Right. Well, and so if you're looking for a data set of 1,000, if you're limited to 30 a day, then you're looking at several months of input before it becomes actually viable.
Well, yeah, at that point, if you're building a AI to do it all for you, you might as well just buy the unlimited pass, whatever.
Right.
Make
Right.
all your coding worth it.
Still, though, I think that that would be a much more interesting and useful application of AI in this regard. The actual chat side of things, I would not let AI take over for me because even if you suck at chatting, um, remember that just because it got you a date doesn't mean that now you know what to do and what to say on the date, right?
Yeah,
That's just step one. And so it might be able to do step one for you, but then you need to be able to back it up by being even more impressive and even more congenial and personable in real life.
yeah, yeah. I mean, I know you can. It wouldn't be too hard because I've done it for like AI writing prompts. Train the AI on a writing style. So if you feed it a bunch of your past, like if for whatever reason you have 100 or 200 conversations, right,
Sure.
that were semi decent, in theory you could feed it to it and it would probably be able to learn your style so it's actually
Yeah.
congruent.
Yeah,
Um,
absolutely. And that could be possible. You're still you're still not I still feel that you aren't doing what is best for you for when you actually meet this girl and date her. Because even if AI went through all of my writing, right? Because like I've written, I don't know, maybe 50,000 to 100,000 words online in various things. And if it went through all my writing, and if we included these streams and like all my videos and stuff, it could go through all of my speaking and writing style, and it could copy me exactly. Even then, why would I want to show up on a date and be like, right, so what did we talk about? Was I at least charming? I'm, running an experiment or something. Yeah, here's X2 Crow says, I feel like I'd be more nervous going on a date that AI set up for me than just doing it myself. Why last minute cram before the date? Then have fun with the conversation from the start. Right. I'm with you entirely. And also, let's not lie. If you train the AI to, its number one goal is to get you on the date, right? No matter what she's saying or how she's acting, because you're giving it a directive of like, I want you to match with girls and then schedule dates for me. And if the girl's being a bitch or just being annoying or you being whiny or trying to move the date or just stupid shit that girls do, AI is going to be compliant to the point of trying to get you a date, which is first of all not good period. But second, like, I would just say no to that date. I wouldn't want to go on that date anyway. And so if you leave it up to the AI, you're also introducing the fact that you're going to go on far more shitty dates than you otherwise would.
Yeah, that's true. You'd have to add in the training of, okay, if they're annoying, here's what to look for to say no, and then you have all this mistakes where you're like, wait, why'd you say no to her? No, stop, no.
Right, right. And I mean, in theory, on a large enough data set, this could be trained. However, the reality is that people don't exactly function on logic or on certain patterns in the way that an AI model would. You're going to focus more on, so for example, if a 6 is being a bit annoying and she's like, "Oh, yeah, that place is a little bit too far. Let's meet here instead." Then you're like, you know what? Fuck it. It's not worth it. But if a 9 is like, you know what? That's a little bit too far, but I really do want to see you. Let's meet a little bit closer here instead. Then you would say yes to it, right? And so there are other emotional considerations that the AI just, I don't feel like, however big your data set is, it couldn't quite get the feeling of, yeah, you know what? Yeah. And it doesn't know how horny you are, right? Like, not being funny, but if you're desperate, if you're on a cold streak, then you're like, you know what, AI, we're gonna lower our standards for this week. We're gonna be swiping right on some 4s, right? Like it. I As an idea, it's interesting, but in practice, I'm not sure that any of it would actually be worth it, except for perhaps the opener to test lines, or a swipe bot if you could get it enough data.
Yeah, it's actually a good point, right? Because even if there's a bot out there, right, that can do it,
Yeah.
um, it needs to be custom to you because
Yeah.
everyone has individual preferences and a style, right? Obviously, there's optimal messaging, but there's still your own style. Eventually, you do have to text them yourself. So
Well, and
it's
on top
just
of that, like the style that I would employ for a worker bee is way different than the style I would employ for an attention whore or a slut, which is different than
exactly.
the style I would employ for an alcoholic or different than a prude, right? And so, like, this, we technically could train the AI to learn the different types, but again, you're going to need a massive data set for it to start piecing together the patterns that your brain can see that it doesn't. And
Yeah,
so,
exactly.
and then saying like, okay, cool. Here's your text data set for when I talk to sluts. Here's your text data set for when I talk to worker bees. Here's your cutoff point for a slut has to be this hot, but a worker bee has to be this hot. And honestly, you're going to end up doing way more work. No matter how good the AI gets, you're going to end up doing way more work than if you just did it.
Yeah. Yeah, the training the AI part, because you can't just like use other people's data sets, would
Yeah.
be the biggest headache.
Yeah.
So that
Now
makes
what
sense.
now what would be interesting there is if you could create like a a generic data set of like, okay, cool. We're gonna let Jack create a data set for what types of girls he finds attractive, and he's going to train the AI and all this stuff, and it's going to take him like 3 or 4 months to put it all together. You pay him $20 and you can plug his data set into your AI so that you don't have to personalize it.
Yeah.
Upside is you don't have to personalize it. Downside is you're getting Jack's preferences. If you like the same girls that Jack usually likes, here are some examples of the girls he said yes to. Here are the ones he said no to. If you like this data set, $20 or whatever it is. That could be interesting to create, not instead of personalized, just kind of like generic plugins for, are you a white guy in Korea who's a teacher who's between the ages of 28 and 35? This is the data set we recommend for you, right?
Yeah. I mean, it would be. I doubt they would ever do it,
No,
right?
no, no.
But
Eh,
the apps could
yeah.
um like learn your data, right? Like imagine in a year from now, right?
Mm,
They have an AI learning on every single person who has an account, swiping, messaging, just like they'll show you like, hey, here are your stats for the year, X
yeah.
thousand number of swipes, etc. Right? They're like, hey,
Well,
do you want
they
to
have
AI?
that now.
They have that, right? So
Yeah.
they have the data of what you're doing. If they could bundle that data into like, hey, do you want an AI to manage the profile? It's collected X number of data points and can schedule stuff for you because it's
Sure.
seen every single message you sent.
Yeah.
Um, that would be interesting because if anyone could set it up in an easy way, it would be the app company itself.
Yeah. That's
But
true.
I doubt they would do that. There'd be someone who's like, "Hey, that's not moral." It's like,
Dude,
well,
I
might be convenient.
let me ask you a serious question. Do you really think that dating app companies are worried about what's moral versus what's profitable? Because like they're actively destroying the family
It's true.
unit and individual sex lives of about 80% of men and about 70% of women who can no longer chase after the top 10% once they hit 26, right? So like I don't think that this is the moral line they're going to draw.
Fair enough. Okay.
We'll see. We'll see. But they might flag accounts as like, just so that you know, girl, you've matched with him. You are currently talking to his AI bot, right? Because if it's implemented in the program via the program, not via third party, then they would need to put some sort of flag
Yeah.
or marker on it.
And that's what I'm saying, where like their moral would be of like they try to at least let people know you're talking to the bot. It's like,
Yeah.
okay, well that kind of kills the point of it.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
but other than that, yeah, they probably wouldn't care.
Yeah. And they might implement some aspects of this. Like, honestly, integrating your data apps with your Google Calendar, and like similar to like whenever you go over to realjacknorth.com and you sign up for a free 30-minute call with me where I will give you personalized dating advice to help you create a strategy that's going to fix your dating life and turn it around starting today. When you do that, what you will see is you'll see a Calendly link where you just see my availability hours that I have preset, and then anything that's already been taken, because it's linked to my Google Calendar. So anything else that's already been taken is blocked out. So implementing some sort of like scheduling system like that could be possible. But again, I don't know why they would, because that doesn't make them any more money. And it does remove some of the personal aspect of whatever's left of a personal aspect of online dating.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's move on. What do you have next, the kid?
I have another not
Sure.
question, but like I saw this article somewhere
Yeah.
a while back. I don't know how true it was, but it was something where it's like the younger generation, so like Gen Z people, right? We're starting to wear like rings on their fingers to indicate if they're single or not, right? To like get people to approach them or whatever. And I thought that was just kind of interesting how it's going from that being normal to then apps to then, oh, the younger generation's like the only way to do it is an app. Let's try to find a way to do it in person. And in their minds, it's like doing it in person is just like a foreign concept. What are your thoughts on that?
I'm not entirely sure I'm understanding. So you're saying that they wear a ring on their finger to indicate that they are not single?
They're no, they're single. Like some sort of green ring on like their pointer finger.
Okay. Uh I mean, like, I guess go for it. If that's a thing that enough people understand as a sign, then sure, why not? But I, I'm I'm struggling to figure out why this is necessary.
Mm, for like people to do.
Yeah.
I think it's I think it's maybe because I don't know, this is a part I found interesting, right?
Hmm.
In younger people's minds, all they understand is the online side, the dating app side,
Yeah.
right? So they feel like and there's so many like excuses in their minds. Why would they go up and do a cold approach or an approach someone or they never get approached? So they feel like there's some sort of need to make the in-person approaching like easier,
Hmm.
if you will, right?
Okay.
Because it's such a foreign concept now, and it's like almost like how can you do this? Because everyone has all that giant list of excuses, right?
Well, right, but so hold on, hear me out here. First of all, if somebody's not wearing a ring, it doesn't mean that they're not single. It might
Exactly.
just mean they don't know about it, or they don't give a shit, or they think it's stupid, or the next point that I'm going to make, which is, why would a girl ever do that? Like, what benefit does she have to, because guys will approach her and just like, a 19-year-old girl isn't trying to get 19-year-old guys to approach her. If she wants a 19-year-old guy, it's very easy to find, right? Like, they're horny, they're lonely, they don't have anybody, and they're failing on dating apps. Okay, if she wants a 19-year-old dude, it's easy, right? But if she wants an older guy, maybe like 25 or 26, to approach her, that dude doesn't give a shit if she's got a green ring on or not. He's going to approach her anyway because she's hot and he wants to approach her. So, what incentive does the girl have to ever put one on?
Hmm. That's a good question. I don't know. I just kind of skimmed through the article like title
Right.
and then read a paragraph or so. I was like, oh, that's interesting.
Right.
How
And
it's like
then
going backwards.
on the, so following that logic, right? So if the girls don't have any logical reason to put it on, then any guy who's wearing one who comes up to her, if she knows what it means, then she's like, "Oh, you're one of those dudes." Because right, like, oh, you're basically wearing a ring saying, "I'm horny and looking to fuck someone." Um Sorry, man. Like, I'm on the rag, or I have a boyfriend, or I'm not interested, because girls don't work the same way as guys. Like, they don't see someone and then instantly go right. Like, it doesn't work that same way. So you're basically outing yourself as either a horn dog or an incel, or in rare cases, a dude who just bangs a lot. But the dudes who bang a lot don't need to put the ring on, right? And so, like, I'm I'm really trying to give this the benefit of the doubt, but I'm struggling to see where in the chain of all of these huge problems where this could ever actually come into play in a realistic setting.
Yeah, I don't. I saw the article like a month or two ago, right?
Yeah,
I doubt it became super popular. I just thought it was an interesting idea. People are like, how do you solve this problem? And it's like,
yeah,
just do it. They're like, let's change how people fundamentally behave. It's like, that's probably not going to work.
yeah.
But
Probably not going to happen. But hey, good on you for trying.
maybe you convinced 30 people in one small city. Okay.
Yeah, yeah, and that's more likely what this was like an article that was just trying to get some attention, right? Like, ah, fuck, I got 7 articles due by Tuesday. Uh, you know what? One of my Facebook friends from high school just said that some stupid people in his city are doing this thing. I'm just gonna write about that. Like, it's 12 people or whatever, right? I don't know. To me, none of that sounds. I mean, it sounds believable because people will do anything, but it doesn't sound like this is the new trend.
No, it doesn't. But it's just interesting how it's like young people are like, oh, that's an idea. That
Hmm.
is it good? It's like, oh, okay, good, sure, try that.
Now, it is kind of interesting because there are like red light, green light bars where you set your coaster to either red or green. Like green is we're open to being approached and to talking to people, and red is no thanks. And those bars are very interesting because it's just filled with dudes who all have their coasters on green and girls who all have their coasters on red because of what I just explained regarding like the dude who's wearing the ring and the girls who don't need to wear the ring, right? Like, yeah,
Interesting.
yeah,
Interesting how that works in that dynamic.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah. But those bars are profitable because girls like to go there to flip their coasters on red because then they get a lot of attention, not guys bothering them, but a lot of attention. And they're there and it's the cool place. And guys go there in the hopes that one table of girls is going to set their coasters on green and like, fuck yeah, guys, we found a unicorn in the wild, right? Like they're profitable because hope springs eternal for men and because attention is currency for women. And so it's a good business model, but it's not actually effective in terms of helping people hook up.
Yeah, it's not a solution, but
Yeah.
they'll make money every single night, so they
Yeah.
keep doing it.
Yeah. 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 It's a financial solution, not a social solution.
Yeah, exactly. Interesting. I didn't know those existed.
Yeah. Yeah. There are quite a few in Hongdae.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
When you get here, I'll take you over to one of the bars and I'll let you see the sea of green coasters that are all dudes, and then like every girl table there is red, 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 red.
I I feel bad for the dude who just goes there every single day for like a year. It's like eventually, I'll have my chance.
Why? Why would you feel bad for them? Why would you feel bad for dudes who go and spend thousands of dollars trying to just bang their head against a wall and hope that luck will drop some random beautiful girl with a green coaster in their lap when they could just save all of that money and time and go to realjacknorth.com right now, sign up for a free call with me, get a personalized plan of exactly what to do, an exact strategy tailored to them and their situation, completely for free in under 30 minutes. Why would you feel bad for them? They're
Oh,
idiots.
true. Yeah, that's a much better idea they should do.
I agree. By the way, did you like that transition there?
Oh yeah, that was good. That was a good transition.
Oh, anyhow, what else do you got?
That's about it for today.
Okay, cool. Before we go on, then, I wanted to answer a few of the things in the Discord that I didn't get to. I felt like honestly 7 questions was a bit too many for today, but there were a few questions in here that I did not answer with AI. And I'm going to run through those actually here. Oh, you weren't here for all of the questions, so you don't even know which ones I asked.
No.
Okay. So I'm going to give these the quick rundown Papa Jack answer. The first question is, what's your experience with those women who say no one night stand or no friends with benefits? I assume you're talking about on dating apps. And this is, hold on. I'm answering your questions now, so tune in. Okay. This is from user Sabi in the Discord. So, what's your experience with those women who say no one night stand or no friends with benefits? And how much of them don't actually follow this rule depending on your game? Also, can we put friends with benefits or one night stands in our profile to be direct on what we're looking for? Okay, couple of things there. First of all, girls who say no one night stands or no friends with benefits or no perverts or no hookups or no whatever in their profiles on dating apps, that is a shit test, 100%, because that should be read as no one night stands or no hookups unless, because every single girl will make exceptions for you're exceptionally good looking, you're exceptionally rich, you're exceptionally famous, you're exceptionally charming. We all know that if I don't know who's if Chris Evans shot her up on Tinder, that she would be like, yes, obviously an exception can be made for Chris Evans. Okay, cool. So now we know that the rule is not steadfast. And if we know that, then now it's just a matter of negotiating and figuring out where you fall in on that. You might be beneath her threshold. That's fine. But you should just basically ignore that entirely in her bio. It means nothing because it right, she's literally just saying I have standards, but I'm obviously willing to break those when something different happens. Okay, that's fine. As far as what you should put in your profile, should you put looking for friends with benefits or one night stands in your profile to be direct in what you're looking for? No. No, you absolutely should not. You can still be direct in what you're looking for, but that's the wrong place to do it. That's like the dude wearing the green ring. That's like the guys going to the bar and having their green coasters and like flashing it around and be like, who wants to fuck? Who wants to fuck? Anyone? You want to fuck? No, you want, right? Like, no, no one's interested in that. That looks needy as fuck. You cannot do that. You absolutely cannot do that. Now, what you can do is you can be direct and answer them honestly when you're chatting with them. Whenever she says something like, so, what are you looking for? Another common shit test on dating apps, right? But don't tell her, like, oh, I'm looking for a serious and committed relationship with the girl of my dreams. But also, you'll do. Actually, that's a pretty goddamn good line right there. Oh, that Papa Jack, how do you do that? That was excellent. That was excellent. Right. Okay, so that's you can be funny, you can be clever about it, you can have a good time with it. What you don't say is, "Oh, I'm just looking for someone who's willing to touch my boner." Right? What most guys do in this situation, because it's a shit test. And what most guys do in this situation is they say, "Well, I'm looking for fun and we'll see uh damn it. God almighty. Trying to respond to this, trying to respond to Rich, who's talking about like, oh, that's an excellent topic. I wish I could be there. And every time that I'm typing and he sends a new message, it deletes what I was typing. Anyway, uh, most guys in that situation say, "Oh, I'm just seeing what's out there, and just looking for some fun, and like we'll see how things go. We'll see if we vibing, right? Something like that." And like You can do that. That's basically the most direct way of saying it's just fuck, right? Honestly, I think the better response is either something clever that points to, but this is what I'm actually doing, or just saying, well, that depends on how our first date goes, doesn't it? So, Thursday, this place, this time. And let's find out what we're both looking for. Okay, cool. That's what I would do with it is ignore that thing entirely and redirect towards let's meet in person, do it there, right? We'll figure it out there. So you can still be direct, Sabi, but be direct in either a clever way or be direct in person on the date. His next question: is it bad that I bring girls to my room and nothing happens? There's something that turns me off, so I don't escalate, and we kept just eating or drinking, and then they left. Look, if you weren't feeling it, right? If something turned you off, and so you weren't feeling it, that's fine, right? Then you just. But honestly, why even keep them around at that point, right? Like, I mean, if I'm answering this on the assumption that you met a girl and you wanted to hook up with her, and then you brought her to your place to hook up, and then because of something she did, you no longer want to hook up with her. Well, then your reason for meeting her is now gone. So unless you are just so devoid of other friends that you need her to fill in a space in your friend group, which, if that's the case, you need to work on other parts of your social life, right? You should not be relying on girls to be your friends. I There's nothing wrong if you feel turned off and you're like, well, I don't want to hook up with her anymore. But if you bring a girl over to hook up and then nothing happens because you aren't physically escalating, or because you're being weird and awkward and you're like, oh, I don't know if I can, do I have permission to hold your hand, or like some weird shit like that? Sorry, I know I got affirmative consent, but it wasn't enthusiastic enough. I'm not sure if I can touch your fingers. It's fucking weirdos, right? If you're being a weirdo and then she's backing out because of that, then yeah, that's on you. That's your fault. And there is something wrong in that case because you game's shit. But if it's just because you feel turned off, it's fine. Send her packing though. Don't don't let her eat your food and drink your beers, right? Like, why? Uh, is day game in Korea possible? Are you shitting me? This dude literally asked in my Discord, day game in Korea, is it possible? I've been writing about it since 2015, and I've been coaching about it since 2017, and I like, yeah, it is. Not only is it possible, but it's advisable and preferable to the other options available, especially preferable to dating apps. How to win over my anxiety of approaching women and what to say. I always overthink and create many scenarios of the conversation. Most of them are negative and don't have a good ending. I answered that one with the AI. That's Come on, you can do that. How can I manage an interaction that girl seems to see me as a friend, but in our first meeting, I'd like to change that perspective of things. Met through a language exchange app, but never in person. Okay, if if a girl is ever seeing you as a friend, that's 90% your fault because you are not being more than a friend. You're presenting yourself as a guy who's just a friend, a guy who lives in the friend zone. And if that's who you are, then that's where she's going to put you. Occasionally, maybe a girl will be like, oh, that's cute. Let's give him a pity fuck. But still in the friend zone, man. No, you need to be acting in a way that clearly demonstrates that, one, you don't need other friends. Two, you don't want other friends. That's not what you're here for. And three, that you're interested in her as a woman, not as a fucking chatbot or whatever. Like, why have female friends? I'm genuinely, I do not know the answer to this. I used to have female friends back when I was in like college and university. And now that I look back on it, I'm like, right, that was just really bad strategy, right? Like I thought that like by being their friends, I could then one day hook up with them, but that's awful strategy. It was just terrible. And whenever I actually thought about it, and I was like, well, if we took away my sexual attraction for this girl, do I still want to hang out with her? 99% of the time, the answer was no. And so there is there are two girls who I have ever been friends with. Like, actually, just, you know what? I fucking like hanging out with her. She's really cool. I want to keep her around. And it has nothing to do with any sexual interest in her. We're just friends. But also, here's the other bit to that. Of those two girls, I did at some point hook up with both of them. Not because I was friends with them, but because I didn't need to be friends with them. If that makes any sense at all, right? Like, I was a dude who was banging other girls, and then whenever I wasn't, then they were like, "Hey, so what you doing?" Right? Because it turns out I had friend zoned them. And whenever they saw their opportunity, they were like, "Okay, cool. I want to ride the ride." Okay, fine. We stayed friends after that because I just liked hanging out with them. But like the point is that if you act like the guy who is the friend who needs the friend, things like that, you're losing every time. You need to be exuding sexual energy. You need to be talking to her like a man to a woman. And I don't mean like talking down or being mean or any like crazy shit like that. I'm talking about just talk to her as if it's somebody who you're scouting them out to see if you two could date. That's the only way you avoid the friend zone. Even now, I've been I've been with Lady North for 5 years now, right? And like I have to tell girls actively. I'm like, by the way, just so you know, I'm 100% friend zoning myself here, right? Like this is not a thing. I know what you're thinking. Don't say it. Don't say no, and don't deny it either. Man, that's a lies are not going to impress anyone here. But I know what you're thinking. I just wanted to let you know that even though I'm acting this way, even though I'm flirting, even though I'm playing with you, this all ends there, right? It's all just words, nothing more. Okay, so get your mind out the gutter. And how do you do that? How do you do that, right? How do you make sure that you stay in that zone? Is by not being a guy who needs friends with girls, especially. Uh, do you have anything to add to that one, the kid?
Nope.
Hey,
What's up, Julius?
hey, sorry for getting in late. I had passed out for a bit.
Congratulations, you managed to join. We're at the tail end. I'm just answering a couple of questions from Sabi in the Discord.
Okay, I heard something about friend zone.
Yeah, this dude. One of the things he asked was, "How can I manage an interaction where a girl sees me as a friend, but in our first meeting, I'd like to change that perspective of things. I met her on a language exchange app, but never in person." And
Hmm.
yeah, I was just telling him like, be sexual, be the guy who's interested in her as a woman. I mean, honestly, be a bit explicit with it, right? Like if she even mentions the word friend, then
Yeah,
fucking stop it right there and be like, hey,
yeah,
just so that we're clear, I
yeah,
already have friends. I don't need friends. And as a rule, I don't make friends with girls. I don't know. It's against my religion. So either we're out together as a man and a woman, getting to know each other a little bit better, seeing where this is going, or no hard feelings, but there's the door, right? Like You kind
Oh
of
yeah, no, I think if we're meeting as friends, I think hold on, if you're trying to meet as like a date, the best thing to do, in my opinion, is do things that you probably wouldn't do with female friends. Instead of meeting up for lunch or coffee or whatever, go
brunch,
to
baby.
go to a place where you guys could both drink on a night out or a decent dinner. You know, get to know each other, things like that. Flirt. You want to
Yeah.
flirt.
Yeah.
Because if you just go for a legit language exchange, and that's you being a moron and friend zoning yourself.
Exactly. When
Yeah, no one actually exchanges languages. You guys just go there and meet up to speak in English. That's it.
you exchange bodily fluids more than
Yeah,
languages, man.
I mean, like, yeah, absolutely. Like, I've had girls come over first day, just be like, "Oh yeah, let's go watch a movie." I know some really good stuff, and it actually works.
Yeah.
Yeah, just make it clear, abundantly clear. That, hey, we're gonna be doing these things. I met
Yeah.
another girl off of an exchange app, and we went to eat to one, and I took her to that sex shop there.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, like you're insinuating things like ha ha ha, what is this? It's almost as big as me, ha ha ha, you know, duh.
Oh,
And while I point at the 1-inch dildo.
is my get.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's the main thing here. You just got to make it clear. I think more with your actions than with your words. If you say I don't need friends, then
Yeah, right. Like show don't tell, of course.
yes,
Uh,
yes.
except in the case of if she says, "Oh, I'm so glad to have a friend like you," or something like that.
Mhm.
So this exact thing, actually, this exact question, basically happened to me when I first met Lady North. I met her on a language exchange app, and we went to go meet up. And I took her to Vent, which you young guys don't know Vent. Vent was just the dirtiest, rattiest shithole dive bar in all of Hongdae. And I took her there because it had 4 for $10 cocktails. And like, we got there and she's like, "Oh, this is an interesting place. Is this where people often have language exchanges?" And I was like, I don't know. Maybe
She's
probably
so
not.
innocent.
Probably not. No,
She's
no,
so
I
cute.
don't think so. And she's like, "Okay, well, that's interesting. So, how does this work? Do we like speak English for an hour and then speak Korean for an hour?" And I just told her, I was like, "Look, I actually don't care, right? Like, if you want, we can do it in Korean and then in English, or we can just do it all in English. Or we can do it all in Korean. Like, I'm pretty comfortable with my Korean, and it's totally up to you. But first, before, like, while you're deciding that, I'm going to get us some drinks." And then we started chatting, and after about 20 or 30 minutes, she made some comment about like, "Oh, I've always been interested in having a foreign boyfriend. Maybe you can introduce me to one of your friends
Shit.
or something like that." Right. Exactly. And I was like, "Wait, stop. Hold on. I just want to clarify something right now. We are out here right now drinking together in Hongdae on a Friday night. This is a date. We're out here on a date. I'm interested in you as a woman, not as a friend. And no, I'm not going to introduce you to any of my friends."
Mhm.
So if I haven't been clear about that, if I've miscommunicated or misled you in some way, my apologies. But from this point on, we're treating this as a date, not as any friend bullshit. If that's not what you want, that's okay. I totally understand. I'm not even upset at all. I get it. But there's the door. I'll finish the cocktails. You don't even have to worry about it. However, if you're down to see what I have on offer and see where this goes, stick around. You still have a little bit more gin in your glass.
You know what's a nice comment I like to say when I meet a girl, especially from like a language exchange app like Hello Talk, whatever. Just tell them when you first meet them, "Oh wow, you're a lot prettier than in your pictures." Always works, hands down, never fails. Because
Awesome.
it's not sexually suggestive, but you're saying, "Oh wow,
Yeah.
and
That
it kind of you're pushing yourself out of any potential friend zoning by
that works
flattering a
too.
good comment. Yeah,
Exactly.
absolutely.
Yeah, and that works as well, right? I mean, to quickly finish my story, like obviously she stayed because, right?
Yeah.
Like, So it worked out well. And that's the thing, is you just never allow yourself to be in the friend zone. That's how to get out of the friend zone, is to never get there in the first place. So if you think that this girl is friend zoning you, then you need to clarify that thing immediately. And if she ever uses that word, cut that shit
Yeah.
off right there.
Yeah, I just think like, I mean, don't do something stupid like take her out to like a candlelit dinner or anything retarded like that, but put yourselves in a situation where you're gonna be out and
Yeah.
adult things will happen. Because if you meet up, candlelit dinner, that's just too obvious. That's like playing hide and seek and putting the lampshade on your head and saying you're hiding. It's just too obvious, right?
Exactly.
Don't do that.
Yo, Julius, I'm going to go and get a refill on my beer, but I'm sending you the next question that he had. Here, check the
Got
chat
it.
out.
Okay, I'll take it from here.
Yeah.
All right. So, is it bad to attract women older than me but no younger in dating apps? How does a game differ from both type of women? Okay. So, I don't think it's bad to attract women older than you. Personally, I think perhaps there's something in your presentation or your style or even the way you look, perhaps even your age range. It's really hard to tell, but I don't think there's anything wrong, perhaps, with what you're doing. That you're attracting older women, because there's absolutely nothing wrong with them. Older women are far more to the point. They're more direct. They don't waste any time. They know how to play the game. They know how it goes. They know what to expect, right? So if they want a fling, they get a fling. If they want a relationship, they'll tell you right away. If they want a friend, they'll tell you. They're not there to waste any time, is the point I'm trying to make here. Now, if you want to attract younger women, I think it's important to kind of look at what you're doing. What are the pictures and the vibe you're giving off from the photos you've uploaded? Are you putting up a bunch of cool travel photos, which is what younger people tend to do? Or are you putting photos of you wearing suits and, in an airplane, or, doing something that, might appeal to women of an older demographic, right? If you post pictures of you sitting by a sedated tiger in Thailand, that might appeal to younger women, but not so much an older crowd. If you if you're wearing a three-piece suit, and you're sitting there with your watch showing off at a coffee shop and a tablet next to you, that might appeal to older women more than it does to younger. I think that's something you should probably look at if you're having that sort of issue online. I personally think older women, I'm in my mid 30s, so if that would make it late 30s or early 40s, I think they're great. I think there's far less hassle with them. The only problems you do get with them is that if they want a relationship, then they want to get married at ASAP. So the clock is ticking. So you got to kind of keep that in mind. But if that bothers you, change what you've got uploaded. Your bio might have a lot of things too, or it might come across as more like, I'm ready to settle down, which of course appeals far more to older women, right? Like you're looking for a relationship, you're looking for the one, you're looking for bullshit. You're going to be the Neo to the Trinity. No. Cut that bullshit out. That if you don't want old women matching with you. If you want younger women, just be like, oh, dude, traveling around, guy that likes to go out, guy that enjoys trying new foods and looking for someone fun to share these experiences with, right? That's something that I think younger women would appeals more to younger women. What do you think, Kate or Jack?
Man, if you're attracting the wrong types of women, basically everything that Julius just said, except in a more general sense, think about what you are putting out.
Yep.
Because you are definitely, whether intentionally or not, you are putting out signals to women that shows what type of guy you are, what interests you have, what kind of lifestyle you lead, things like that. And then figure out like, okay, cool. What am I putting out there that's attracting these types of girls but is repelling these types of girls? Because if you aren't crafting your image and who and what you present as intentionally, then you're just at the whims of, well, I don't know what this is. I'm just running without direction.
Yeah,
Like,
you're like the dating profile equivalent of old man yelling at cloud. Like you just have no idea what's going on, right? So if you're having success in old lady land, it's the energy and vibe you're giving off on your profile that's appealing more to that demographic. So make some necessary changes, curate your pictures, make yourself younger, dress down a little bit, put on more hoodies, sneakers, jeans, whatever,
yeah.
and show more interesting active things like you hiking outside or going up a mountain or you know, you flying somewhere really cool, standing in front of a cool place. I don't know, whatever. Get creative.
When I was still on the dating apps, my pictures were me and Stallion at the Mud Festival, dressed up as Captain Korea and Captain America together, and obviously drunk and just yelling at each other. Right?
Oh, yeah.
It was a picture of me in the fish hat with a beer, and like it was a picture of me out drinking with people. It was a picture of me partying on a mountain in Sokcho. It What was I putting out? I was putting out, this guy goes places and he parties. So who did that attract? And that was intentional, right? Like I wasn't trying to attract worker bees on the dating apps. I wasn't trying to attract husband hunters on the dating apps. I was trying to attract young sluts and to a lesser extent shy girls and prudes, of like, oh, this guy's really fun, he's really interesting,
Yeah.
maybe I can have some of that fun too, right? Like, cool. You're Realize what you're putting out there and craft it intentionally. Be specific in what it is you're doing, know what you're doing, and like it honestly, it isn't that hard once you actually just think about, what am I putting out there? Oh, so this is the obvious output, right? Because your input does lead directly to your output. And so figure out what it is that you're putting out and figure out what it is you're trying to get as your output, and then adjust accordingly so that you get what you're looking for. All the
Absolutely.
stuff that Julia said is exactly right about,
Yeah.
travel photos. Don't put up photos of you in a suit. I mean, like, I guess you could, but if you're going to do that, then it needs to be like a photo of me in a suit flying a helicopter, or like, like some crazy ass shit. Like, okay, cool. This guy's got a whole lot of things going on. That's that's fine. Mixed messaging is better than the wrong messaging, but the right messaging is far better than any of those.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Like I remember some of the photos I had, some of the dating apps I used. I had me as Jack Sparrow.
Mm-hmm.
I had me wearing an animal print shirt.
Mm-hmm.
Another one with me wearing gorilla shoes. Another one where I was kayaking shirtless. You know, just gotta put up this energy, this fun, friendly, young, energetic energy. So you could, like Jack said, attract the not the worker bees or old lady land. You know, you want to pull in your young come swallowing sluts. Sorry, kid, or girls younger that you desire. What? What did I say? That's funny.
It is correct though. Like, just figure out who your ideal counterpart is. Who are you looking to meet? Well, what do they respond to? Actually, just like think about it, because it isn't that hard. It isn't that hard, and you can you don't have to be rich or jacked or any of this stuff to get good results with younger women either, right? Like, Julius has known me for what, almost 10 years now, right? And like, I've never not had a beer belly, but that's also never once slowed me down. So what's your excuse, man? Right? Like, I've been losing my hair since, I don't know, 2016, and like, that's never slowed me down. What's your excuse? I've been broke pretty much the whole time, right? Like living as a teacher before. And that never slowed me down. So what's your excuse? It's just that you're not paying attention to it, right? You're just not being conscious of what you're putting out into the world. And so you're surprised by the results you're getting. That's it.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. It's the general energy and vibe you're giving off. So make adjustments accordingly. Now, I think the key difference is here to answer is the second part of his question too. Like I said, older women are more expecting that they're more direct in what they want. But you also have to be careful because they want to, if they want a relationship, they want to get married ASAP. They're not there to waste any time.
Mm-hmm.
Younger women, they're more likely to have fun and everything.
Yeah.
So
husband hunters have been a thing forever. And the older they get, the more likely they are to become a husband hunter. Now, of course, you can still meet 36, 37-year-old sluts and alcoholics, but right, like those do exist. Girls who just want to, they're like, no, look, I don't care about any of this shit. I'm just here to get drunk, get laid, and have fun on my way out. I'm not going to get married. I'm not going to have kids. I'm like, okay, well, those girls exist as well. So like, there's nothing necessarily wrong with older women. Well, I guess depending on what kind of relationship it is you're looking for. But if you're unhappy with the output you're getting, it's because your input is incorrect. And so that's the answers. Figure out what is your input? What are you giving them? And that will change your output.
yeah, if you want, man, show us what you've got right now in the chat, and we could help you curate it to like, make a bespoke profile perfect for what you're looking for.
And here's another thought. If you're having this many issues and these troubles, go over to realjacknorth.com right now. Sign up for a free call with me, and I'll help you create a personalized strategy of exactly what to do to turn your dating life around and craft the correct input to help you get the output that you're looking for. It's totally free, and all you have to do is go over to realjacknorth.com, hit the button that says sign up for a call now or book your call now, something like that. That's it. That's all you have to do.
Absolutely. I can't stress this enough, though, that the successes you achieve in person by talking to women will always be far greater than the ones on Tinder.
Mm-hmm.
No question about it.
Yeah, I agree completely.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that 10 out of 10 Instagram hunter follower hunter on Tinder is untouchable, but in person you just may have a chance, no matter how minute you may think. Yeah, that's the difference here, guys.
Absolutely. I mean, none of Julius has met some of the girls that I've dated in the past, and like I guess probably about 80% of them would have swiped left on me on a dating app. if we're being honest, right? Like you remember the girls, and it's like these girls weren't looking for this, right? But in person, they're looking for this, right? They're looking for this, but they weren't looking for this. This was just a byproduct that they were like, you know what, though? I'm willing to tolerate that because that is fucking awesome, right? So you have a much better chance in person always because you can actually showcase more of yourself. There's no real advantage to dating apps unless you straight up don't know anything about the place you're in, right? Like if you've just landed in a new country today and you don't know anybody there, you don't have any community, you don't even know where the party spots are, you know nothing, then dating apps may be your best bet. But that's a really rare situation. If you know your area at all, if you know where the people are, if you know what's going on, where the party spots are, you get no benefit to being on dating apps, even if you're incredibly good looking, because if you're incredibly good looking, you'll still do well in person, right? So it doesn't matter. I don't see any situation. I suppose if you're a straight up 10, if you're just like the hottest dude in the world, and you're like, you know what? I'm not even gonna leave my apartment anymore. I'm just gonna have girls come over, bring me food and beer, fuck me, and then leave. Okay. That is a very good use case for dating apps. I'm totally on board with you for that. If I could do that, that's what I would have done. Right? Because like, why wouldn't you? Based on the questions I'm being asked, I'm assuming that's not you. So meet them in person. It's much better.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Any more questions?
The kid?
No, about it.
All right.
All right. Well, in that case, I've just popped a little piece of jerky in my mouth at the wrong moment. Dude, I went out there to get a new beer, and Lady North was like, "Hey, I just cut up a bunch of beef jerky for you. Here you go. Have a snack while you drink a beer." I'm like, "I'll tell you what, guys, it's not as bad of a gig as a lot of people will make it out to seem." Oh, I'm so sorry, X2 Crow. I didn't see your message. Got to see it the other way too. Why do they want to be your friend if they don't want to bang you? Oh, I'll tell you why. Quickly before we finish this off and sign off, girls love having someone on, basically a backup, right? Like they'll like string you along and try to feed you like little bits of hope. They like the attention. They basically get an emotional tampon, somebody who they can just like whine and cry and bitch about their stuff to, and
Oh,
they're
yeah.
oh, that's so bad. Oh yeah, Karen's such a bitch. Oh yeah, oh my god, I can't believe your boyfriend is so mean to you. Oh yeah, you should totally break up with him. Oh, but you don't because the sex is too good. Oh wow, you know, I guess I kind of understand that, right? Like girls love having dudes like that.
Yep.
They're just on the hook all the time.
Yeah.
They would absolutely love to have just an army of betas just
Beta
orbiting.
orbiters. Oh yeah. Yeah.
Beta
And that's-
orbiters. And the beta orbiters are also Instagram followers, right? And so
Yeah.
like, and the beta orbiters always comment on their new Instagram picture
Oh, yeah.
and boosts their thing more, right? So like they have a lot of personal incentive to keep beta orbiters around. So that's all the stuff that they get from you if you're in the friend zone. What do you get from them? Fuck all.
Yep.
That's it. Nothing. Absolutely nothing. So skip it. Skip the girls entirely. If you're actually in the friend zone and you can't get out, right? You tell her, I don't want to be friends. And she's like, oh well, and then she just feeds you a line or some bullshit. Just get out. Right? There's nothing to be gained from that whatsoever. Anyhow, that's where we're gonna wrap it up for tonight. Guys, I hope you enjoyed today's episode. It was an interesting one, seeing what AI could come up with as a dating coach, and I enjoyed our conversation afterwards and answering all the rest of your questions. So, for those of you who joined in the live chat, thank you very much for joining in. It was a lot of fun. And for those of you who have watched this all the way through, make sure that you leave a comment below about what your score was. Did you actually guess all of the correct answers? Did you know which ones were Papa Jack's answers and which ones were AI generated? If you got them all right, how'd you know? If you got them all wrong, what did you learn? So let me know in the comments below, and I will see you guys next week. So until then, Papa Jack out.